I'm going to go ahead and give my thoughts on X-Men First Class, which is the 5th installment in the X-Men series. And I have quite a lot to cover with this one, so I'm just going to get down into it. Obviously, this is going to take it back to the beginning. Like, if you recall in the first X-Men movie, that Xavier told that Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Storm were among some of his earliest students. Now, for a lot of comic diehard fans out there, don't plan on seeing Angel or Iceman in this because, quite obviously, they were too young when they showed up in the first three movies. So we're going to be treated to these three characters among them. Now, these are, or at least Cyclops and Jean Grey are going to be among that first class. Storm is a possibility. Now, as far as characters go, because honestly, I don't know many of the actors that they have portraying a lot of characters in here. I know, let me see it real quick. We've got James McAvoy as Charles Xavier, Michael Fassbender as Magneto, and Alice Eve as Emma Frost, and Nicholas Hoult as Beast, which are among the mainly confirmed. And thank God, I don't know who Nicholas Hoult is, to be honest with you, but I would much rather see him as Beast than the rumor that was floating around that Taylor Lautner was going to be playing him. We do have other characters that are going to be confirmed to be in this. We have Mystique, who's being pursued, and we have Moira MacTaggert as characters being pursued in this movie. We're also going to have Banshee and Havoc, Multiple Man, and I think they have another one named Willow. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't know who Willow is. I did a little reading on Wikipedia. There's not much of an article on him, but it was a character out of X-Men 2099, and I don't really care for that. One casting of a name that I do know has particularly caught my interest, and the talk is that Kevin Bacon is in negotiations to play a villain in this movie. This hasn't really been broadcast out there that much, but this might be a majority of the topic for this video because I see at least 3 or 4 distinct possibilities that they could go with for Kevin Bacon. Now, obviously, if a lot of people who don't know who he is, he played in Tremors, he played in Hollow Man, he played in Wild Things with Neve Campbell, all of which were great movies. And here are the possibilities to me. One, which is a character that a lot of people would like to see, is Mr. Sinister. Because obviously, since we have Cyclops and Jean Grey in here, Sinister has always been after those two, like any in the comics, and especially in the 90s X-Men animated series, he was always after them to use their genetic material to recreate a perfect strain of mutants. Now, as much as I would like to see that character, I'm excited by the prospect of it, but I don't think that's really the role that they're going for with him. My second possibility could be Karl Lykos, aka Sauron. Now, quite obviously, since this is a realistic X-Men movie, they could use Sauron in this, but they wouldn't use the Savage Land. Karl Lykos could just simply be a vampire mutant. But, and of course they probably wouldn't call him Sauron. Hell, they might not even have him turn into the pterodactyl, or to the were-pterodactyl in the movie. But that's one of the possibility right here. I do have 2 distinct possibilities of him, of the villains that he could portray in this movie. And before I say that, I have to say this. The X-Men movie will come out in June of next year, and they're supposed to start shooting in London in August. Here's the biggest possibility that I could see this going with. I could see Kevin Bacon either as Sebastian Shaw or Donald Pierce of the Hellfire Club, and I'm thinking more likely Sebastian Shaw. We have Emma Frost, character who is confirmed to be in this movie because Alice Eve has already been cast at her, and since we have Cyclops and Jean Grey in here, I'm thinking that this could possibly be another rehashing of the Phoenix story. The way that the third X-Men movie handled the Phoenix Saga, or the Dark Phoenix Saga, I thought was just completely horrendous. And it was like, when they were focusing on Matt Fraction's gifted story arc, I thought that should have been all that there was, and they could have saved Jean Grey off for another movie. Unfortunately, they fucked that up, and perhaps this movie could be the one to fix that problem. We could very easily deal with the Hellfire Club in here. Magneto is also in this movie. Now, Michael Fassbender is playing him. Excuse me. And there was one time in the comics that Magneto was, in fact, a member of the Hellfire Club, so that could be a very possible scenario right there. If they could do the Phoenix, because if you remember in the third movie, Charles Xavier was telling that when Jean was younger, he had to suppress the Phoenix personality within her, and that could very easily be done. Now, if they were taking it off the Dark Phoenix story arc, quite obviously we couldn't have Jason Stryker in this movie, because he was this movie's version of Mastermind, so this would be way before he was born. No, I take that back. It could possibly be, because I think he was in his 30s and around the age of a lot of the X-Men in that movie, so that is a possibility right there. And she could have been the one to cause him to go insane if they kind of play on that story arc. So, take part of the Dark Phoenix Saga. This could very possibly be the story of the movie to me. And we could already establish you might have Kevin Bacon as Sebastian Shaw or Donald Pierce. You would have Magneto in there with the Hellfire Club. You have Emma Frost, who could deflect from the X-Men and join them. And you could possibly throw in another character, say like Selene or Harry Leland, as another member of that. And there's definitely a possibility that they could fix, well, there's no fixing the way that the Phoenix was handled in X-Men 3, but as far as getting the Dark Phoenix storyline right, this could very possibly be done right here. There was also a part in the first movie where Xavier said that Storm was among one of his first recruits. Now, particularly with me, if they do Storm, because they had talked about having X-Men Origins Storm movie, which kind of fell out, I could see them going to Africa to try and recruit her, and she could be under the control of, I know it's the Shadow King, but I want to say his name since they're doing using the characters in a realistic way. And if I can get his name in a minute. His alias is Amal Farouk. Now you could have them go and recruit Storm in this, and Storm has a lot of history with Amal Farouk, aka the Shadow King, and this is another possible way that they could go. But my money is definitely riding on the Dark Phoenix storyline retread, especially since this takes place in London, and the concept of the Hellfire Club is originally what emerged from English aristocracy back in the 17th century. So that's pretty much my thoughts on it right now.